Throughout our lives, we will experience change. What we often don't realize, however, is that as humans, there is a particular pattern we follow when we experience change, like starting a new job, a new role, a new relationship, or moving to a new place. Each of us will experience it slightly differently depending on the nature of the change and who we are as individuals. But when we don't understand our personal response to change, it can derail us and make the change a lot harder to navigate. In this video, you are going to gain insight into how we experience change so that we can navigate it more effectively using a model called the change curve. The change curve explores our response to change using two elements, emotions and time. When we first embark on a change, we typically experience an increase in positive emotions. We're excited and full of anticipation, imagining what it's going to be like. It's important to remember, however, that every new beginning starts with an ending, and often, just before the change gets underway, we experience a slight dip in emotions, perhaps some nervousness and trepidation as we say goodbye to our previous context. Once we actually start the change, excitement and positivity peak. This is sometimes called the honeymoon period, and we are full of anticipation and energy as the change gets underway. And here is where we enter what's called the change curve. We can experience this phase days, weeks, or even months into the change. For many people, it occurs around the 3-month mark. When in this phase, we may start to notice a drop in our positivity. These feelings may manifest in shock and uncertainty. We may doubt our decision or fear that we are not good enough to succeed in the change. We may wonder if others are doubting our abilities, and at the lowest levels in the curve, experience a complete lack of confidence. So why does this happen? As human beings, at an unconscious level, we experience negative emotions when we stray too far outside of our comfort zone. We tend to feel secure and good about ourselves when we are able to add value. And when we're new in a role or situation, it can be challenging to do this, which can trigger a fight, flight, or freeze response in us. As time passes, however, and our new context becomes more familiar, we start to notice a level of acceptance emerging as we let go of our expectations of ourselves and accept the loss of what came before. We begin to move up the other side of the curve when our knowledge and competence increase and we can start to add more value. We become more comfortable with exploring and testing, which leads to an increase in confidence and positive emotions. We finally reach the top of the curve, and often that's the start of the next change. The good news is that there are some practical things you can do to manage the depth and time we spend in the curve. Awareness. Firstly, recognize that it's a natural process that everyone experiences. Questions. Asking questions increases your knowledge, which in turn increases your competence and leads to greater confidence. Feedback. Share your experience and connect with those on the journey with you. Ask for feedback on your progress. Goals. Set small milestones in the early stages of a change. This will increase your awareness of making progress. Celebrate. Acknowledge and celebrate small wins. Focus. Instead of focusing on all the things you don't know in a new context, remind yourself of what you do know, and you will probably find out that you know more than you think you do. In summary, the change curve represents the generic path humans take when experiencing change. Each of us, however, will experience this slightly differently. For some of us, the curve will be steep. For others, a lot more gradual. You will experience this curve throughout your career, and being aware of it is the first step to managing ourselves as we experience it.